Santa Barbara and northern Ventura residents are in danger of mudslides yet again tonight. And tonight I'll show you what the inside of one of their shelters looks like.
The former USC student who stabbed his professor to death was committed to a psychiatric hospital. Annenberg Media was in the courtroom.
And thousands of immigrants became U.S. citizens at a downtown ceremony. We spoke to some about why this day means so much.
Annenberg TV News is next.
Live from USC, you're watching Annenberg TV News.
The largest storm of the season is heading for Southern California. Good evening, I'm Tommy Brooksbank.
And I'm Hamda Salhout. Evacuation shelters are opening to residents who are leaving their homes in Santa Barbara and Ventura counties. Our reporter Brittany Hope is live at one of the evacuation centers in Ventura County, which is about 70 miles north here at USC. Brittany, how are people feeling over there going into this storm?
Tonight's approaching SoCal storm is leaving residents of Santa Barbara and northern Ventura in danger yet again. For the third time this month, residents in these regions are facing new evacuation orders in fear of threats of mudslides. Now, you can see behind me, we're here in the Ventura College gym where cots are being lined up, food is being served, and people obeying those evacuation orders are gathering here tonight, trying to stay safe. Now, evacuation orders for the region will be in place until Thursday at 5 o'clock. So the American Red Cross is here again with these cots and food, trying to make the stay for these residents as comfortable as possible. Now, I talked to a spokesperson earlier from the American Red Cross who is urging people in Santa Barbara and northern Ventura to really and truly obey those orders.
Primarily here to bridge the gap in that immediate call when they're being evacuated from their home, place of business, wherever it might be. So it's shelter, it's food, and it's the ability to communicate. We'll have communication services here if they have to reach someone or let someone know that they're okay. You only have one life. We want people to be safe, heed the warnings of law enforcement, of fire, of your city, so that if they're saying, if it's a possibility to leave, be prepared to get out. You can always go back.
Since we got here this afternoon, there's been a growing number of people coming here. Now, I would say there's about 15 people who have registered with a cot and who are starting to eat snacks. Now, this shelter opened today at noon, but there's another shelter at the Santa Barbara Fairgrounds that opened a little bit earlier as well. Now, with me today, I actually have Ventura County resident Jose Flores, who was there during the Thomas fire and decided to stay. Jose, can you please join me? Hi, Jose. So I want to ask you, earlier we were sitting on your cot and you told me that during the Thomas fire, the flames were in your backyard and you stayed. Why'd you decide to stay?
I felt I had a fighting chance and I wasn't going to go anywhere.
So now there's mudslides. What made you leave?
Well, with the fire, I just stayed back there with some water hoses and put out a few little spot fires. Fire came right against our place. I wasn't going to leave. Fortunately, our house stayed intact and there wasn't any burn to our house, but there was some to some of our neighbors.
So now with the mudslides, you think it's a bit more dangerous?
Well, can't stop a mudslide from coming down, and our neighborhood is probably going to be flooded, and I have doctor appointments this week, so I can't afford to be stranded.
So you've been here for a few hours and you've been hanging out on your cot. It seems like you actually ran into some friends here.
I ran into a few people that I know. A few acquaintances as well.
Wonderful. Well, Jose, thank you so much for your time, and we're hoping that everyone remains safe. Let's toss it back to the desk. Live from Ventura College for Annenberg Media, I'm Brittany Hope.
Yeah, we're hoping everyone gets to those shelters in time. Thanks, Brittany. This winter, we've only had a fourth of the rainfall Southern California usually receives around this time. But the storm that's rolling in tonight may change that. Paula, tell us what we can expect.
The expected downpour will bring us the most rain we've had since the January storm that triggered Montecito's deadly mudslides. Between tonight and Thursday, we can expect as much as 6 inches of rain in the foothills and the mountains, and 2 to 4 inches in the coastal and valley areas. Flash flood warnings are in effect through Thursday night. Back to the desk.
Thanks for that report, Paula. The former USC student who stabbed his professor to death was ordered to a mental hospital today. Annenberg Media's Cole Sullivan spoke with his lawyer and has details on why he did it. Cole.
Hamda, it's the first time we're hearing exactly why David Jonathan Brown attacked Professor Bosco Jean. His lawyer told me today that Brown has severe mental illness and thought that he was the victim of human experimentation.
The court recommends placement at Patton State Hospital.
It was a quiet end to 16 months of court dates for David Jonathan Brown. After being found not guilty by reason of insanity, an LA County judge ordered him to Patton State Hospital, potentially for the rest of his life.
But he believes with every fiber that he's being experimented on and that other people are at risk.
Brown's public defender says his client suffers from severe mental illness. He says that's why Brown stabbed USC neuroscience professor Bosco Jean to death in his lab in the Sealy G. Mudd building in December of 2016.
He thought a lot of the students at USC were just hired actors. They weren't really students. He thought the doctors in the neuropsych department were all conspiring against him.
The lawyer says Brown thought these experiments would eventually kill him.
He had clearly believed that there were ongoing experiments that would shock him and make his body shake, would make him hear things.
The public defender says Brown was in treatment for his mental health issues, and Professor Jean was trying to help Brown get his PhD.
Friend, mentor, advisor is the one who suffered the most.
Brown should be transferred to Patton State Hospital in the coming days. The public defender told me it's hard to know exactly how long that Brown will be there, but if his mental state doesn't improve, he could stay at Patton until he dies. We just received a statement from USC Provost Michael Quick about this case. He says this is yet another somber reminder that our university continues to mourn the loss of the beloved professor and researcher Bosco Jean. We continue to remember him not only for his impact in the science of vision, but also for how much of himself that he gave to his colleagues and students. And I spoke with one of Professor Jean's former colleagues today who remembered him as, quote, an absolute angel and a brilliant researcher. Tommy, back to you.
2 Maryland teenagers are recovering after they were shot by a classmate this morning in a school hallway. The gunman died following a shootout with a campus security officer.
He didn't say much that he heard the gunshots and he took off running and told the teacher that someone must have been shot. I'm so thankful to the Lord that he spared my son.
Tell me what you're doing now.
Because bullets have no name. I want my son out of that school. I'm waiting for them to release my son.
The 14-year-old boy and 16-year-old girl were shot just 10 minutes before classes were to begin at Great Mills High School. The rest of the students were taken to a nearby school where parents could pick them up. Authorities say the shooter was a 17-year-old student at the high school. The gunman had a prior relationship with the female victim. He used a Glock semi-automatic handgun. This is the 17th school shooting in the U.S. this year. Investigators are still trying to figure out why the 17-year-old shot the 2 students. According to the hospital, the girl is in critical condition and the boy is in good condition.
In Texas are responding to yet another explosion that has injured at least 1 person. This follows an incident this morning when a package exploded at a San Antonio FedEx facility. The most recent bomb in southwestern Austin. There have been 6 bombs found in the Austin area this month. Federal officials say today's bomb was found near San Antonio and was likely linked to the bomb attacks in Austin that have killed 2 people since March 2nd.
The safety of the employees and the public has been, is, and remains our principal focus.
Police warned residents not to handle, pick up, or disturb any package that looks suspicious.
A controversial California law met a skeptical reception from the Supreme Court today amid freedom of speech concerns. The California Reproductive Fact Act requires anti-abortion pregnancy centers to provide information about abortions. This includes a detailed account of the state's affordable abortion services and family planning for eligible women. Pregnancy centers are fined up to $1,000 if they fail to provide this information. Justices across the ideological spectrum seemed concerned that the law violates the First Amendment. Justice Kagan questioned how the law only applies to some providers, and Justice Kennedy felt parts of it create an undue burden. Lawyers representing the pregnancy centers say the law violates the First Amendment by forcing people to articulate messages that are at odds with their beliefs. More than 5,000 people from over 100 countries became U.S. citizens today at a naturalization ceremony in downtown LA. The ceremony's atmosphere was full of excitement and pride.
I think the best part is now being able to vote and exercise my freedom to vote and my right to vote, and also to just be in company of 3,514 other people who took their oath today.
This day means a lot to me, my life.
To commemorate this significant day, one woman opened a gift shop at the ceremony.
Who doesn't love to become an American? It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. It's not like a birthday or an anniversary that comes around annually. You become an American once. So it's a very exciting event, and I never get tired of it.
According to the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, about 680,000 people go through the naturalization process every year.
USC's UNRRA Institute is hosting a forum about what could have happened if Martin Luther King Jr. and Robert Kennedy were never assassinated. We spoke to one of the speakers on his theory.
And I'm Ryan Thompson outside the Disney studio lot. Coming up, I'll show you how this toolkit could make Hollywood even more diverse.
And I'll have your full weather forecast with all the rain updates next.
Guess what? I have some news for you. There's free food right there, junk food. Do you see that truck? Oh, jeez. It's a 2 Michelin star chef. All for free, ladies and gentlemen. All for free.
Here we have a panzanella with summer vegetables and pesto. Enjoy. How we doing?
Fantastic. So what do you got going on underneath that plate there?
This food is really about to be thrown away.
Yeah.
Is there something wrong with this food? Where did you get it from?
From farmers markets. They put aside the ugly vegetables and the ugly fruits.
Carrot top, soft avocados. It was all food that was going to be discarded.
Even the drink you had is made from like a little bruised peach. Did it taste a little bruised?
Great. That was good.
The average person throws away 24 pounds of food a month.
That's a lot.
Isn't that a lot? Go visit savethefood.com for more information. Thank you. Junk food time!
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
I spy something beginning with S.
Snow?
No.
Snow-covered trees.
Nothing to do with snow.
Head outside to discover incredible animals and beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure.
Wow.
So grab your loved ones.
Don't even.
And explore a world of possibilities.
Come on, this way.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you.
Next week marks the 50th anniversary of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination. Just 2 months after King died, Bobby Kennedy was shot and killed.
Our political anchor Nayanika Kapoor has more on how USC is remembering the grim events of 1968.
Thanks, Hamda. The UNRRA Institute is hosting a discussion about these two great leaders at Tommy's Place. I talked about their legacy with Bill Carrick, a Democratic consultant and one of the panelists at the event.
I think it's the time to think about these two figures and what they stood for, and it's in tremendous contrast to the current environment, which is less than open and inclusive.
The speakers are discussing how America might be different today if these two men had been able to continue their fight for civil rights and social justice.
Both of them were really profound leaders, and both of them would have taken the country in another direction. And the net consequence of 1968's politics is Richard Nixon got elected president, which didn't turn out to be such a happy story.
LA Supervisor Mark Ridley Thomas and former LA Times columnist Mary Lou Oates are also on the panel. The event will wrap up at 7 o'clock. Back to you.
Thanks for that report, Nayanika. Los Angeles City Council approved a dockless bike share pilot program today. The goal is to make cheaper and easier access to bikes. There are already more than 350 dockless bike stationed across LA and in Griffith Park, and the Council District 15, which includes San Pedro, Wilmington, and Watts. Through an app, users will be able to locate and unlock bikes without a specific docking station. The City Council will review rules and regulations for the proposed program in 45 days.
Well, Hamda, coming back to LA after spring break, I was expecting it to be sunny.
You know, it's not. It was a little chilly today, kind of humid. Let's toss it over to our weather anchor, Paula Alonze, for more. Paula.
That's right. It was it was high in humidity today, but the temperatures were pretty mild. It was a nice day for the most part. Sunny in the morning, but then overcast for most of the afternoon. It's 67 currently with high 66% humidity. So that means that we will be seeing that rain come in later tonight and tomorrow in the San Bernardino area. It'll be in the mid 70s. So nice temperature, but raining all throughout the region. And then over in Thousand Oaks, we'll see that there's going to be more rain and also temperatures in the low 70s, and then cooler in the beach at Malibu at 63. Over here at the USC area, it's going to be in the 60s as well, and we will be seeing rain continuously again. For the 5-day forecast, the rain stays until Thursday, through the end of Thursday, where the advisory will be ending, or the flood advisory will end. And then for the weekend, hopefully we'll be seeing more sun, and then hopefully temperatures will raise by the next week, so that we'll see things in the 70s again. The Southern California community isn't taking any chances this time around. The biggest rainstorm we've had all season is on its way. Here's how we're preparing. This is where you can pick up pre-filled sandbags. They're free. Mandatory evacuations are in these locations, and these are the areas most heavily affected by the Thomas Fire and deadly mudslides. So, you know, hopefully those people stay safe. It's good that they've got the evacuation early, you know, hopefully no emergencies happen.
Definitely, hoping for the best. Thanks, Paula. Well, after the Oscars, many in Hollywood were talking about the so-called inclusion writer. Now, actors with disabilities are talking about their own struggles with inclusion. Annenberg Media's Ryan Thompson shows us what they're doing about it.
Tatiana Lee is an actress who, like many others, loves a good selfie. But unlike most of her colleagues in Hollywood, Tatiana is in a wheelchair and has been for her entire life.
I grew up watching TV and not seeing myself represented. That's why I wanted to be an actor.
At 34, Lee is no amateur. She's been in Apple commercials and TV pilots, but says getting these credits has been challenging. And along the way, she's heard every excuse imaginable.
It's too much work. We got to make all these accommodations, and it's too much. And oh, how can somebody play a character before and after their disability?
Lee is not alone in her struggle against discrimination in Hollywood. Hundreds of actors, writers, and crew members suffer from disabilities, visible and invisible.
Give people the tools and the ideas to enable them to be successful about inclusion.
Dozens from the group Respectability gathered to discuss the road forward.
People who work in the entertainment business are very positive people. They want to make the world a better place. But sometimes they don't know what they don't know, and it's not a matter of will, it's a question of skill.
According to the group, 1 in 5 people have a disability, but only 2% of characters on screen are shown to have one.
Members of Respectability recognize that making changes to casting and writing here on studio lots can be hard. Many people don't know what to say or do to make things better. That's why they're releasing their own inclusion writer that serves as a toolkit for disability inclusion here on studio lots.
Inside, all sorts of information, from how to make sets accessible to proper terms to describe those with disabilities.
We're giving people the skills that they need to be fully inclusive of that $1 billion market of people with disabilities.
And those with disabilities, like Lee, left the meeting feeling inspired and excited about the future.
The little girl in me is very, very excited about this opportunity because now people are listening. People are hearing and seeing the value in it and not just looking at us as something to, you know, be sympathetic towards.
But now it's up to the writers and casting directors to implement. For Annenberg Media, I'm Ryan Thompson.
Hey, Tommy, I heard that a big USC football event is going down tomorrow.
I know, football in spring. What's that about, Jody?
That's absolutely right, guys. USC's Pro Day is happening tomorrow as all eyes in the football world will descend tomorrow morning as Sam Darnold and the rest of USC's NFL hopefuls take the field for USC's Pro Day. And last night, USC fell to Western Kentucky in the second round of the NIT, and Angel Viscara will join me to break down the team's 2018 campaign. And the USC women's beach volleyball team is back out on the sand following their spring break trip out to Hawaii. Sports are next.
Fancy pants peanut butter? A big screen television? You haven't even bought a sofa yet. A motorcycle? When your father finds out, he's gonna flip his shoes with 2 buckles? What do you even need 2 buckles for? Mr. Big Shot, buying whiskey shots for everybody in the bar. From the looks of it, I'd say nobody even remembers. Feed the pig.
Did you know parking over tall, dry grass can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
The USC men's basketball season has come to an end. Last night, USC fell to Western Kentucky 75-79. I'm joined now by our sports correspondent, Angel Vizcarra. Angel, what was your biggest takeaway from last night?
Yeah, Jody, looking at the box score last night, obviously the Trojans fall short on the scoreboard. But when you look at the box score, the Trojans really had an atrocious performance from the charity stripe. 8 for 19 shooting from the free throw line for USC, while Western Kentucky, their opponent, went 16 of 17 from the line. Trojans also were handled down low as they were outscored in the paint 52-36. A couple of things right there that didn't help the Trojans.
I gotta say, for me, Angel, really the USC's last couple of possessions towards the end of the game really is what lost the game for them. They were playing sloppy, unorganized, and really unmotivated basketball. And I think it was a nice mirror and reflection onto really how USC's wrapped up the end of this 2018 season.
Yeah, certainly a bumpy finish to the season for the Trojans, but all in all, looking at the season, a lot of things to be happy about with how things turned out for the Trojans. Coach Enfield is very happy about his team's season after the ball game.
And Western Kentucky played really well, but focused more on our season as a whole. We very, very proud of our players, what they accomplished. We go to the Pac-12 championship for the first time in a long time. And have the highest league finish in 25 years, second place in the conference.
This year, the Trojans came away with their 3rd consecutive season of 20-plus wins, making for a program record of 71 victories over the past 3 seasons. Their 2nd place finish in the Pac-12 standings was their highest in conference play since 2002, and this season was just the 7th time the Trojans recorded at least 24 victories. Jody, it's really hard to believe this basketball program just 3 years ago finished the season 12-20 overall, a big turnaround.
Absolutely crazy. I can't believe it's been 4 years. I remember being a freshman right alongside Jordan McLaughlin and Elijah Stewart and covering them up from the stands, and it's been a great ride these last 4 seasons.
It's the end of a chapter in our lives. It's going to be kind of sad to let go, but it's just part of growing up. We got to move on. We gave USC the best 4 years of our lives,
Definitely the best 4 years of their lives. USC's turnaround has a huge thanks to McLaughlin and Stewart for really just the team's overall resurgence on the hardwood.
Yeah, and with these upperclassmen leaving, now it'll be up to their young nucleus to step up and keep winning ways going forward into next season.
Time will tell, of course, for their youth success, but I trust under Enfield's guidance they'll be able to find their way and continue to succeed.
Absolutely, and while USC basketball is done, football is making its way back onto our campus as some familiar faces will be back out on Cromwell as USC's NFL hopefuls will take to the field tomorrow, hopefully, to impress some NFL scouts.
That is absolutely right, Angel. It'll be quarterback Sam Darnold's first chance to show off his arm in front of NFL scouts as he elected not to throw at the NFL Combine. USC's NFL-eligible players will be alongside Darnold as they try to impress scouts, and among those players are Ronald Jones II, Rasheem Green, Deontay Burnett, Uchenna Nwosu, Stephen Mitchell Jr., and Chris Hawkins. For Hawkins, it will be a great opportunity to impress NFL scouts as he was not invited to the NFL Combine earlier this year. Now, USC's Pro Day kicks off bright and early at 9 a.m. tomorrow, and you can get all the latest throughout our coverage on Twitter at ANN Media Sports and on Facebook at Annenberg Media Sports throughout the day. Now, jumping onto the sand, the number 4 USC Beach volleyball team is prepping to host the Pac-12 South Invitational in Santa Monica this weekend.
Well, we do have a target on our back with every team, so we can't take any opponent lightly, like I said before, and we just need to come out, compete, but yeah.
Bustamante and her partner Tina Gradino went 4-1 out in Hawaii this past weekend, improving to 9-1 on the season. The team as a whole went 3-2, dropping both of their matches against Hawaii. USC will have ample time to prep for the rest of the Pac-12 South schools before their invitational this weekend. Hopefully the rain clears up for them and they can get some wins out on the sand.
Hopefully. Thanks for that, Jody.
Yeah, thanks, Jody.
The Griffith Observatory is hosting the first day of spring celebration, and even with the oncoming rain, visitors are still excited for the new season.
The next 30 seconds can save you a lot of money. Just do your laundry in cold and stick to full loads. Auto sleep your computers. Plug your gadgets in a power strip and switch it off when you're done. Headed out? Turn back your thermostat by 10 degrees. And drive sensibly. The more energy you save, the more money you save. Find other great tips at energysaver.gov.
Thank you, dear. Oh, you're very supple. Just like I was at your age. Back then, I was a sex expert. Used to call me the buttered biscuit. I know about birth control, too. So you can ask me anything, baby.
Bedsider.org has birth control information and a lot more. And it's...
Have you had sex in this car yet?
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where the ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
The first day of spring has arrived, and even with our cloudy weather here in Los Angeles, tourists from New York seem to be happy to escape the barrage of blizzards they've been facing back home.
Springtime here in California.
Considering that New York is expecting about 15 inches of snow, anything is better than that.
I like this in comparison to New York. Right, this is so much better. I love this weather.
Fifth Park weren't fazed by the cloudy weather as long as they could see the Hollywood sign. Even though LA is expecting rain over the next few days, it'll be back to its typical sunny state by the weekend. If the skies clear up, the observatory will be hosting a star viewing party this Saturday for its visitors.
Thanks for watching ATVN News. From everyone at Annenberg Media, I'm Tommy Brooksbank.
And I'm Hamda Salhoot. Good night.